Right, now recorded. Michael, episode 21 of the Grappling with Physio podcast. Michael Holt, professional snooker player. Thanks for coming on, mate. Much appreciated.
Pleasure.
I would say not really been a grappler or a judo player. You don't really fit the the criteria.
Although when I'm changing Sadie's nappy, I do feel like I'm grappling.
We don't really fit the criteria for this show, but the reason why I've asked you on is because me and you are mates and we go way back quite a few years. Now we're a little bit older. We've got a very nice, colourful past and history. And I thought it'd be interesting with your career being a professional snooker player. We're going to tap into the kind of the sports mental aspect of thing, mind, performance, competing at, high level where there's a lot of money at stake and, rankings, position, and all of that really. So why don't we start with a bit of an origin story, where you're from, how you got into snooker. It's like blind date. Tell us where you're from.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Leo. I'm Michael. Obviously, I'm from Nottingham. I've been playing snooker since I can remember. I've got pictures of me when I'm 3 with a snooker cue on the floor. I think my godfather, who's passed now, he had a full-size snooker table. So he used to got pictures of me playing when I was really young. My dad was a landlord, so I used to play a bit of pool as a kid. But I think I only started playing snooker much more seriously when I was about 12. And I started playing like regularly, once, twice a week. Then I was quite good as a junior. I played for England when I was 13. And you sort of progress. I just loved it because I was quite good at it. I was obviously kept playing and played loads and loads, and then you just keep improving and just see how far you can get. And I got to the point where I was good enough to turn pro around 18, 19, and I've been on the tour ever since.
Wow. So what does it require? What do you need to be a pro? How do you get to be a professional snooker player?
Well, I think with anything you want to excel at or be any good at, you've got to be a little bit of a geek in a way towards it. You've got to be obsessed with it. You can't do anything half-hearted. I don't think even all the great champions or anybody that's got to a high level, they've dedicated themselves to it and they've enjoyed it basically, which obviously gives you. It's not, when I was a kid, I just loved playing snooker, and obviously, like I say, when you get good at it, you want to get better. So I think that is something that has to be there. You have to love it, I think, to get to a high level.
At what point did you know, when you picked up a pool cue or a snooker cue?
A snooker cue. That I wanted to be a professional. Well, I was, from the ages of about 12, 13, I can remember just wanting to be a professional snooker player. So that was my dream as a kid. And I'm blessed to be able to live that. Do you know what I mean? And to still be doing it at 42 is amazing, really. So it's took me around the world. It's not without its stresses. I mean, it's a very insecure life. I've got to win. I've got to have success to earn money, to earn my living. And now I've got children and a family. It's sort of a bit more on it. But you've got to be quite resilient and just be. I think there's a famous quote. I think it's a French tennis coach. He said, the champions are best at forgetting. Because obviously, as you go through your career, you get quite a lot of knocks. You've got a lot of losses and missed balls or whatever. And I think you've got to be very resilient and be able to just put that out of your mind, which, although some are better than others, I think everybody at this level are quite good at that. Because, like you say, most professional sport, you're losing more than you'd like. So that obviously can take its toll on sort of your mental state and emotions at times,
Do you think snooker found you?
I think with anybody that's good at anything, if you find something you're really good at, I think there's a little bit of chance in there. I mean, my dad likes snooker, so if my dad didn't like snooker, I mean, I might not have. I mean, my godfather, they like snooker, so they introduced me to it, and I found that I was fairly good. I had this sort of hand-eye coordination straight away. So, I mean, if I was living a different journey, I might not have found it. So I think, yeah, I'm lucky that I found something I'm particularly good at. Well, you could say that anyway. Some people will say I wouldn't, but I'm not as that good. But yeah, I suppose I was lucky to find that, and something I really loved. So yeah, I suppose it found me in a way.
Did you know when you picked that cue up and you took that shot, and it just was there a moment where you just thought, yeah, I can do this?
I don't know really. I think all I can remember is from a kid just having one dream, and that's just to be a professional snooker player. I mean, I didn't take much notice at school really. I was not something I regret in my life, not really educating, taking any part in my education really. I didn't go to very good schools, which didn't help, but you've always got that excuse. But yeah, I think I was just fairly set from a very young age. That's what I wanted to do. And I think that's why I dedicated myself so much. I did make sacrifices as a teenager. I just went to the club to practice at any time. I didn't go out messing about with my mates or whatever. Like, you can get sort of dragged away. So no, I was fairly one-track minded really. And I think that's obviously why I've got to the level I've got.
So, well, that level, being a professional, what does that involve on a daily basis? What's your life involved now when it comes to snooker?
Well, it is, you try and use it like a job. I mean, every day when I'm at tournaments, I'll practice. At the minute, I'm only playing, I can only get in the club 5 days a week. Obviously, clubs are short, but most of the time I'd play 5-6 days a week. If I'm not at events, I'd have Sunday off. And I'd play for at least 5 hours. And that'll consist of playing on my own or playing other professionals with a sort of match situation. And then you're preparing for events, for tournaments coming up. Luckily, snooker, for the last 10 years, I've had the tour's got fairly big, which means at times we're sort of going from one event to the other. And normally we can be traveling. So I've been to the Far East. I don't know. I've lost count how many times I've been to the Far East. So that's where China's quite popular over there. Snooker's quite popular over in China. So yeah, you're always looking for the next event and then opening. And I think one thing that's kept me going or given me the opportunity to sort of play for as long as I have is I've never stopped trying to improve. I'm always trying to, I need to get better, obviously, because you want to do better. So, but I've got quite a young attitude. I'm fairly still motivated, very motivated to sort of get better and do better. So I think that keeps me going, you know what I mean? But yeah, you got to treat it like a bit of a job. There are days when you don't want to go to club. It's easy to not go, but I don't. Like I say, I'm motivated and I work hard, and hopefully it'll pay off soon.
Have you ever considered walking away from snooker?
I think if I was good, because I'm not very good at anything else, it would be hard for me to do that. But I think one thing I do look back, probably in my late 20s, early 30s, I appreciate now how lucky I am to do what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? But I think that I didn't when I was 30. So if maybe around 30 odd, if I'd have had another thing to go to do, I'd have maybe sort of thought about it then. But I've come to the realization I'm just good at nothing else. So, and I don't know anything about anything else. So I just keep doing what I'm doing. But I do appreciate it now. I'm lucky, I'm blessed to do what I do. Like I say, living my dream when I was 15. So not many people sort of get that opportunity really. And so I just keep trying to do it as long as I want, or I can.
So we initially met each other back in 2003 in the Greek islands of Kos, when
Yes.
We were both working kind of in the same vicinity, and there was a group of us that all clicked and just started hanging around together and having a few beers, and we had an amazing summer. And I remember, saying, "Oh, as you do, oh yeah, where you from? What do you do?" And you say, "Oh no, I'm a snooker player." And, oh yeah, sure. No, what do you do? No, I'm a snooker player. I'm like, oh right, okay. And I remember looking at our mate Ollie, thinking, what is he on about? And he's like, yeah, apparently he plays snooker. And then Mark was like, yeah, he's a pro. He's on the world ranking and that, And then back then phones weren't, that accessible. Yeah. And I think I went to an internet cafe to send an email, and I was like, just do a quick Google search of this guy, and I could see you on the world ranking. And I think back then you were like 29th. That was in 2003.
Yeah, I was in the top 32 then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you were
that's
29,
right. Yeah,
and I was just
yeah,
like, oh shit. But what,
yeah,
what,
yeah.
what really made me laugh and what made me understand that you were a pro was most nights when we would finish work in the bars and we would all go for a drink and a few games of pool in one of the, the pool bars at the top. And I always remember this night. We were all there. It was me, Ollie, Mark was there, you were there, and we were all having a few games. And you never played once. You just sat there having a drink, and we were all
Yeah.
messing around playing. And I was like, "Come on, aren't you going to play? Show us some trick shots." And you were like, "No, for me, it's a job. I want to chill out. I don't."
Yeah.
And I
Don't want
just
to
was
say it
like,
more.
God, and that's
Yeah.
I suppose, the serious level that we were thinking, God, if he picks this cue up, it's like, I've got to beat all of you. And then,
Yeah, yeah. Then he's on in your ear rolling out. No, it was good times, really. When I think back, I mean, that was the times when the tour wasn't as big as it is now. So I'd have 3 months off in the summer. That gave me the opportunity to go over there, because now I wouldn't be able to do it now. I mean, not that I could. I'm 42. I've got to grow up. But at the time, like I say, now it's back to back. Starting in June, July, all the way through the year. So, but at the time, like I say, it was giving me the opportunity to do that, and my mates were going. So I thought, right, I'm off. Let's
yeah,
do it. And it was brilliant. It was a fantastic time.
having such freedoms and kind of us living those life experiences, they were awesome. And we were all there for different purposes. Was it hard to get back into the kind of the focus mindset of a pro once you got back?
No, not. I mean, I suppose when you're leaving that, drinking every night and having fun, it's hard to leave that, isn't it? But I think I've got many weaknesses as a player, but as a professional. But I think one of the things, I've always been quite disciplined. I've always been able to go, right, that's it. I mean, I love a night out. I used to. I'm not allowed out anymore. I'm married, but I used to I loved a night out. I loved going clubbing, but I could always think, right, now's not the right time. And I think you can have fun as a professional or as a sports person. You've just got to pick and choose the right times. I mean, the best player in the game at the minute, Judd Trump, he likes a night out. He loves going Vegas when he can and all that. But he just does it at the right time. It's not for everyone. Some people don't like it, but I think, to sort of go off on a bit of a tangent, I think when I look at all the champions that I've known through the years, they're all different characters. They've all got different ways about going about things. They all work hard. They all love it, and they're all animals mentally. You know what I mean? They're like psychopaths at times. It's like they don't feel. But that they're disciplined, and that's, you've got to be disciplined. You've got to be doing it. So like I say, it's an asset I've always had, and so I can just get back into it as soon as I get back.
Well, after Greece, we kind of stayed in touch, and I remember going to live and work in Ireland, and I went to see you play in Dublin that time, and then I remember a couple of years afterwards, I went to watch you at the Crucible, and you got to, was it the quarters or the semi-finals against Steve Davis?
No, it was the last 16. Last
16, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, disappointing result. That was a bad result. That was a different me.
Yeah. So it was, you had a very, not to relive past pain.
Yeah,
but
I didn't realize. I didn't sign up for this. I'm off.
I think it was 10-3. You were up 10 frames, weren't you?
8-2 I was up, and ended up losing 13-10, 13-11, didn't I?
Yeah. And there was
yeah, it's a bad result. I mean, because I think if you get beat, I mean, we've all done it. Every player's lost from a big lead. I mean, it just happens. But I think when I think back, as I've changed as a person now, that wouldn't happen now, because I'm a different person. Like, I was a bit petulant at the time, and I showed out a lot. And I don't really think you have regrets, do you? But when I think back, I do look at that and think, I didn't come myself in glory there, because it's not about winning and losing. It's about sort of giving yourself the best chance. And when I was 25, I think at the time, my attitude wasn't a good attitude. And I think it did cost me that game. So yes, that was a disappointing result. And it's took me a long time to learn that lesson. I didn't learn it at the time. My attitude wasn't good for a few years, after that. But luckily now I'm a bit better now, get a bit older, a bit more wiser, a bit more mellow. I don't think that'd happen now.
what was the turning point in that game, or what was the what's changed in your attitude from then? You said you would show more, but what can you explain that a little bit more?
I'd show my sort of show out. You know, if I was losing or I was missing, I'd nod my head and just lose my focus. I mean, the great champions, what they can do is focus. Their focus is brilliant, especially at the times of when you're nervous. And obviously, mine wasn't very good. I was thinking about the crowd. I was thinking about this or that, what people might be thinking, saying, and that's not you're not focused on what you're doing. And obviously, to play anything at a high level, you've got to be, you know, there's millimeters involved in snooker. So if you're not focused, you can't play to a high level. You just can't do it. So that is what I mean by showing out. I was showing that I was upset and things like that. And obviously, that's giving your opponent a G up as well. And I was playing Steve Davis, who was one of the greatest ever. He'll eat that up. You know what I mean? He'll go, right, he's gone here. So, yes, although I can show my emotion every now and again, it's nothing like that. You know, it's just, it was disappointing, that really. But thanks for bringing it up anyway.
Well, it's important in this podcast to relive past trauma and pain so we can address it and get past it.
Yeah, you've gone in 2-footed straight away. I can't believe it. Thanks. Anyway, see you later.
But yeah, see you, Holt. Take care, mate. So, but I mean, look, that was back then, and we're not the same people we were back then.
No.
And like I said before, I hit the record button. Well impressed with your career recently, and especially smashing it in the shootout finalist last year, which was an awesome win for you. Winner in 2021, and then finalist the year before.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? And then obviously everybody was going, this guy's run is just fantastic. So they were kind of, a lot of the writers or the snooker pundits were saying that type of format really plays to your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it is you need a bit of luck in that form. You need a bit of luck anyway, but in that format, you need to be a bit lucky as far as in you need someone not to just get in and clear up and win, because it's only 10 minutes. I've tried, you can't read that much into it, but I think if I look at myself, and I've said this a few times when I've been asked, when the people say, well, why, you know, do you do well in that format? I think because of the way I am, my personality, I'm not a very focused person. Do you know what I mean? Some people are a bit one-track minded, aren't they? And I lose focus fairly easily, or I can do at times if I've got a busy mind. So I think under those time constraints, maybe that it just focuses my mind. Do you know what I mean? And I just get on with what I'm doing, because the art of being good under pressure is to be able to just focus on the one thing. Because when you're nervous, your brain naturally fires about other things. You know, when you've got a busy mind, if you're stressed, you know, put it into another example. If you're stressed, you find it hard to focus at work or at whatever you do. You know, you walk up the stairs and you'll forget what you've walked up the stairs for. And it's that kind of sort of thing that buzzes your mind. And so when, like I say, when you're at times of stress, to concentrate on just pot that one, to get on that one, which sounds the easiest thing in the world, because a lot of the professionals, you know, can pot all the balls, they can play all the shots, they can clear up all the time. But the top boys, what they're good at doing is just going, right, that one, to get on that one, to get on that one, under the utmost of pressure when they're nervous and they're jittery and they're having to remember how to breathe, things like that. You know, that's what pressure can do, which is a bit mad because it's just a game of snooker.
Well, I've got an idea. I'll get a machine gun, okay? We'll set it up next to the actual table.
Yeah.
You start playing and I'll just let the rounds rip, all right?
Yeah.
Get used to all that.
Well, you know, it would put if anything, it would put things into perspective, wouldn't it? It's just a game of snooker. But so I think going back to the question, I think it helps me in that it just makes me hyper focused straight away, and then it makes me, because if I am focused, I can play to a very, very high level, a high enough level to sort of do better than where my ranking is at the minute. But I'm not on my own. Michael, I'm not on my own. There's a lot of players like that, you know.
Mate, but you beat them all.
Yes.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, Davis, you
Yeah.
beat them all in the past. On your
Yeah.
day, you have beat them all, and you can beat them all comfortably.
Yeah.
What do you do, or what have you done? What changes have you made to kind of focus and make your mental strength stronger from when you were playing in your 20s, 30s to where you are now? I must say,
I think,
when I've watched your games of recently, you look a lot more happier, and you look
yeah.
like you've dropped that baggage, that proverbial pack that was on your back, that
Yeah.
weight that you were carrying previously. You know, because I would look at your posture and you'd look tense. You would look,
Yeah.
you know, you were holding it a little bit, whereas now you'd look just sitting there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bit of a blag. I probably still feel like it. But no, I mean, I think as I've got older, there's a mixture of things. As I've got older, I'm a bit more mellow. You change as a person, don't you? I've learned to put things in perspective. I've got kids now. It's not, although it's still frustrating when you lose because you want to win. And I think as soon as you lose that, I'm a bad loser still, but obviously I think as soon as you lose that, you're struggling anyway. I don't want to be a good loser. I probably should be used to it by now, but I'm still not. But no, I think it's just a gradual getting a bit older, really, and just trying to do better. I've tried to improve myself as a player, so I know that that's an issue, or I knew that was an issue. So just getting a bit older. I think that's probably the best way.
Well, I've read a quote that you gave to a reporter saying that you will be playing, and a lot of stuff just bounces into your mind, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, like in Ghost.
I think I explained. He was trying to explain my mentality because, like I said before, I've read a lot about the mindset stuff and being a bit more mindful just in my person. Do you know what I mean? Because I said before that my mind can be very busy. So what I was trying to explain to him, it's like, the Royal Rumble. That's my mind, and there's like 50 wrestlers all trying to get my attention. Do you know what I mean? So I think what I was trying to say is my personality is like that a bit. So as I've got older, I've tried to work on being, like I say, calmer and being more aware of my thoughts so that I can control them a bit better. I mean, I've still got a way to go, but I do feel like I'm playing the best I've ever played as far as in my level generally. I've not done great since Christmas, but apart from that, I've played some really good high level this year at times. So I think that has helped me do that. Definitely.
It's mad because there was a time when I was young and I'd got into going to like Riley's and, a few nights of the week to work on snooker and try and enjoy it and stuff. And in the end, it just became more of a...
The problem is with snooker, it's really hard. I think that's why pool's a bit easier, and you can have a few beers, you still pop the balls. But I think snooker it's really quite a technical game, and there's not much room for error in whatever you're doing. I think it's why you'll even see the top professionals miss balls that you'll think, how's he missed that? Because it's just a fine line, that you're talking millimeters and you'll miss by that much. So yes, I think as a game, it's not a social event when you're playing if you're going to try and play to your best. So yes, I think that's where pool comes in.
I was always going with Ollie, and he always kept beating me, and it really pissed me off.
So you don't speak to him again. Yeah.
I just thought, God, I'm never going to get better. So I'd even go when he wasn't there, but I still would never beat him. But I'd always look at a shot, and I always found it difficult because the posture that you're in, holding it, trying to beat them over, and then looking down at essentially the end of the barrel, and just twanging it off to the left and thinking, did I miss that? But it would always see whenever I'd want to do the shot, it would almost like I'd tense up. If I relaxed, I didn't care and took it, I would get better results. But if I tensed up, it was almost like my muscle memory would affect the fact that it made it worse because I'm trying too hard to get the shot.
It's that's what I was saying when you talk about the mind stuff. When it comes to when you're doing something, it's all relative. Like whatever level you're doing it, you've got to try, but not try too hard, because if you start getting you're supposed to practice, so to sort of make it not muscle memory because it doesn't exist, but like you get the feel of how to pop balls. But then what you've got to try and do, the art of doing it in a match, is to try and just let the shackles off, and then just let your practice play in a match situation. But obviously, because of the nerves, the mind gets involved, and it's like when you see a bike going down the road and somebody sticks something in the wheel, they go off, and that's literally what your mind does if you're not in control of it. All of a sudden, people will hit the shot badly, but that's not a physical thing. That's their mind sort of affecting all the stuff they've practiced because it's got in the way. So that's what I mean. The top pros can just play. I mean, they'll still fail all the time, but they do it more, and they do it more often, and they're more consistent because of that as well. So at any level, your mind is important, but obviously at pro level, it becomes just everything, really.
What do you take? What lessons do you take from failures then?
Well, they say you should learn from every failure, shouldn't they? But I think the best, you've got to be honest with yourself. You have to be brave enough to accept your failures for what they are. I think it's very easy to look for a reason why you failed other than yourself. Do you know what I mean? You hear a lot of people talking about this, or this has been upsetting me, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or it can be anything, the tables, it's too dark, it's too light. I think you have to look inside yourself and then think, right, why did I fail there? And 99% of the time, it's because you failed. So if you can be honest with yourself, then you've got a chance of trying to put it right for the next time, really. But being honest with yourself is really important, and hard.
What do you think? What do you think separates the kind of upper echelon, the top 5, from the rest of the kind of
mindset,
the ranking?
Just mindset. That's it. I mean, it's everything. It's absolutely everything, mate. It's the longer I've been in the game, the more that is sort of confirmed. It's because there's loads of players, that can play to an incredibly high level, but doing it out there more consistently. I mean, Judd Trump is the person you have to talk about now. He's the best player at the minute, and he's just got an incredibly amazing mindset. He's like I said before, they're like psychopaths. They can just focus on what they're doing. You could have a herd of elephants running past them, but they're just bang, and under pressure, that is even harder. So if I saw a young player now, all I'd look for is his mindset. Even if he's not, or she is not as good as another player, I would take that person with the better mindset and be more confident of turning them into champions than not. Because when you get to it's like, to get to a professional level, you have to be so good physically. You have to be able to play all the shots, pot all the balls. But it's as if you hit a glass ceiling then. It's like, as soon as you're good enough to pot all the balls, to get any better is just mindset. Just being able to do it out there, just being able to control your emotions, all those things. So that is the be all and end all of professional. And I'm sure it's the same in all sports. In golfers, I'm sure there's loads of golfers that hit it miles, that, tennis players that are unbelievable. But the thing that separates them top ones will be that mindset. So I'm like a dog with a bone, but it is so true,
Have you ever sought out professional kind of help or advice on mindset coaches to help you get to that certain level? Or?
Yeah, I have done. I've done quite a few years ago, but I wasn't open to it. I was a little bit too skeptical, which is me, really, my stubbornness and my sort of, that was silly of me, really. Although I listened to it, I wasn't hearing it, as they say. I did work with a guy, Chris Henry, a couple of years ago, who did, to be honest, he did help me quite a lot. But I think there's loads of books out there that you can read. There's loads of ways of doing it. But I think having lived it and having sort of experienced what it's like, I think if I was going to give anybody sort of advice, I would say there's no right or wrong way. It's all about, you got to look inside yourself and find out what's best for you. So There's a few champions of snooker. Mark Williams is one, and then there's somebody like Peter Ebdon, who are both been world champion, both had fantastic success, but they're completely different people. Like Peter Ebdon is very focused, very professional, whereas Mark Williams, he likes to carry on as if he's not bothered. When we all know he's really, really bothered. You don't get to that level unless you are an animal and trying to win. So what they have done is they've done what's right for them. You know, if standing on your head for 20 minutes before the game works, then do it. Do you know what I mean? Whatever gets you through it, you know. So I think that's the advice I would give. Be honest with yourself and find what works for you. I think that's the best advice I could give anyone, really.
So whilst we're on that, what does work for you? How do you get mentally prepared for a tournament?
I mean, you could argue it's not working, but I think as I've learned about myself, I think, like I say, I've got a busy mind, so I have to try and calm my mind down, and then notice if I'm having an irrational thought or a thought that I shouldn't be doing, is noticing it and then just letting it go. It's easy to get wrapped up in thought. But again, that's for me. I mean, it works a lot of the time. It doesn't work as much as I'd like it to. But I think that's something that as I've been working on my mindfulness, I think that's definitely, it's not just helped me as a snooker player, it's helped me as a person as well, because like I say, that's part of my personality. And I think I've become more mindful about that. I can be a better person as well, you know, not to get too deep, but you know, it's all in the mix, you know.
It goes deep as you want, man.
Yeah. I'll be here all night.
Don't hold back. Yeah.
No.
Just do it. No, well, I noticed we're doing this podcast, having spoke to some like very high level judo players, grapplers, fighters. It's absolutely normal and it's natural. I mean, I wasn't high level, but experienced it when I was boxing myself. And when I do compete in grappling, your endocrine system, your nervous system just goes into absolute full throttle, you know, and it's just unbelievable how much, if you don't get control of it, you can succumb to fear, and how much that fear can essentially hinder your performance and reduce your ability to be able to carry out what you want to do. I mean, how
does it affect you in a grappling situation as well? Does it really affect you as well, like that?
Yeah, in the competition setting, because it's competition. Competition is competition. It doesn't matter whether
what level. It doesn't
matter if
what
it's
are you
grappling,
doing?
if it's snooker, you know, if it's,
it means something.
Exactly. You could have a table with two tiddlywinks on, and you could stand a crowd of 10 people around. And I know myself, I would be like, oh, it's serious here. This is, you know what I mean? People start pulling out their phones, and you're like, oh God, it's on. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you the fight or flight kicks in, and you've got to be able to control it. And that's something, you know, I'm constantly dealing with on a regular basis. I even get it whenever I'm like teaching or doing a presentation or a CPD, like a continual professional development session with other physios before I start. And, you know, if I've done my prep and I've got my slides ready and it's a subject I feel super confident in, I'll have this mad adrenaline dump before I start. And they're all going to start laughing, thinking he's full of shit. And you're like, well, hang on, I've been at this game for quite a while now. So, you know, and as soon as you get into it and you start talking and you settle down, essentially, you know, you start to enjoy it. It was like, it's the same with boxing. Whenever I was competing in boxing, I was like, as long as I take a punch and I know I'm not made out of glass, I'll be okay. So sometimes I used to have or had to get hit first before I could switch into gear when I was competing. And I've got into grappling a little bit later. So I haven't really mastered that because I haven't competed. I haven't been exposed to the competition circuit as much as what I'd like to. But it's still something, you know, you got to work with. You read some. There's some amazing books out there, but you read them and all they say is is expose yourself to that which you fear the most, you know, and go and face that thing which you fear the most. So if you're scared of grappling, competing in a BJJ or a grappling competition, get yourself a competition.
Well, experience it and then try and look at it, because when things are sparking in front of your mind, it's quite an irrational state, because everything's going to be all right. You know, like when I'm playing snooker match, the worst that can happen is I'll lose. But when you're out there, you know, you can be thinking some mad stuff like, what are they thinking? What, they're all going to laugh at me, you know, this and that. You know, you just, what am I doing?
Oh, yeah.
And I think the mad thing is, most people, that is just thought. People aren't thinking that because they're too wrapped up in what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
Well, I mean, it's like a deep-seated fear of competition where I would always think, well, I'm about to walk out, and what if my shorts fall down?
Yeah. It's just you know, we're about.
Yeah. What you do?
No, yeah. But as you get older, the belt gets higher. Yeah.
We've got to go around the belly.
Yeah. But no, it is. It's when you think about it, I think this never gets any less frustrating, because if you have failed mentally at times, you know, after, when you've calmed down and you're getting over the defeat, you'll sit back and go, why was I doing that? Why was I thinking like that? You know, it's just madness. But I think as you get older, you probably can try and put things in perspective a bit easier. You know, it's not the be all and end all. You know, you just, I think you lose sight as enjoying it as well, because you do all these things because you enjoyed them at the start. So, you know, you'll miss it when you can't do it. Do you know what I mean?
Do you ever use that, you know, the visualization technique? Have you ever done that? Like anchoring?
Yeah, I have.
Done anchoring?
Yeah, the visualizer, and then even putting music to certain positive images, and just even thinking about the smell of, you know, just really sort of reaffirming those positive things. It's one thing I did with Chris, to be honest. And yeah, I have got sort of some mental memory files now that I think of, and just remind yourself that you're all right. You know what I mean? You're not as bad as you think you are at times. And that you're not on your own. Everybody's doing the same. But yeah, I think I read somewhere that when you think of something, only 97% of your brain thinks it's really happened. Only 3% of your brain doesn't actually acknowledges it as not actually real. So if you keep thinking those positive thoughts and reaffirming those positive images and all that, you know, it does create a more positive, even just standing up straight, stick your chest out. Next time you're a bit annoyed or upset or whatever, just stick your chest out, smile, and you'll just feel a little bit better. And that's all because of you're moving your body in a more positive way, you know, things like that. It's all in the mix.
Yeah, physiology and then breathing, all of these things play a massive part. Have you been reading Jordan Peterson's book by any chance? That's his first rule.
I haven't, but is that a thing? Is that the first rule? Is it? It's funny. I want to read because is it?
That's
is
the
it really?
First rule. He's got 12 rules to life, and the first one is stand up straight, pull your shoulders back.
Oh, is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I might read it. I know the book. I know the book you're on about, Jordan. I know the guy. Yeah.
It's very interesting. It's a massive. That's a massive thing. You can tell a lot by people's posture. You know, I look at how people walk. That's my job as a physio, is to analyze how people move, how people stand. You know, what type of position do they adopt when they're comfortable? How do they kind of get from point A to point B? Look at their gait. You know, how do they move? Where do they compensate? You know, you can tell so much by somebody's mood by how they are standing. And
well, you know, that stoops, that's no good. You know, looking down, it's not a positive way of being, is it? Really, it's not good.
Has fatherhood changed things?
Oh, amazing. I mean, I genuinely treasure every moment of it. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've only been a father for 3 years, but, you know, great 3 years, you know, we've had, obviously with times the last year has been tough, you know, for a lot of people. But with us, you know, Sadie was born 12 days before lockdown, the original lockdown, the 1.0. And we spent all summer together. We was together 24 hours. They said it wasn't that bad a time for us in that respect. Although I didn't see my dad, it was a bit of a nightmare. My dad's still kicking about, and he's obviously he's in a residential home, so he was locked down.
So for those that don't know, your dad suffered a stroke quite a few years ago, didn't he?
2010, yeah. And he's in a residential home. He's lost his speech. He's got no can't do anything for himself, really. Can't go out anywhere. But he still can try and talk. It's hard to understand, but he understands everything. And I think he's in a nice place, and he has as good a life as you could have in the position he's in. He's got a lot of family around that love him. And so that was probably the best part about winning the shootout, taking the trophy back to him. That was just amazing. Yeah, brilliant.
You perk up?
He perked up a little bit. We're quite lucky. I'm sure he's had his dark moments, my dad, in the position he's in, but he's got quite a good, he's always had a good sort of attitude towards life. And he's got a lot of family, he's got grandkids and that. So he's got stuff to be chipper about. So he handles the situation he's in better than I think I could. So, but yeah, like I said, the father has just been amazing. I just love it. I absolutely love it.
It's interesting how like our paths intertwine, because another story was we nearly lived together at one point, didn't we? Because when I was applying for university, I was actually... That's
right. Yeah.
So I was applying to do physiotherapy at Nottingham University, and arrogance got the better of me. I got invited for an interview, did my interview. I'd phoned you and I said, it's in the bag, mate. And you were like, you were like, come and live with me. I've got the spare room ready. You can lodge with me whilst you're at uni. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have some great times. And
never happened.
Failed. I didn't even get offered the place. They said no, got knocked back. But Nottingham's loss was Coventry University's gain. So,
of course it was. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like a crossroad in life. I mean, you probably wouldn't have passed anyway living at mine anyway.
Yeah, I probably would have failed.
So it's probably a blessing in disguise, really.
Exactly, because you could imagine if we'd have lived together, I'd have been like...
Chaos. My career would have gone off the rails. I would have been finished in about 18 months and you'd have been back home. Failed.
It is funny though how a chance meeting oversaw, because it's funny, all of us that met, and I would encourage anybody that gets the traveling bug at any particular age, especially from your teens up to your 20s, do it. Go get a ticket, go out there. I mean, I'd not long left the army, and I was trying to deal with the loss of, my best mate was killed in Iraq, and it was the best thing. It was the best rehab mentally that I could have gone for, was to go and meet you lot, who not one of you was military, and it was such a different look and outlook on life, and to meet you all, and now we're all in our 40s and we did that in our 20s, and we've all stayed in touch ever since. It's been a great experience. We've all moved on with our lives and different areas. Of course. We've all become fathers, and that's been fantastic. But it was an amazing trip, and I would definitely encourage anyone to do it. It's funny when I do go on holidays now, and you see some of the workers and the travelers.
You think, you know what they're up to, they're having a great time, bless them. You still feel like I still feel like I'm 24. I don't feel any different.
You don't look it, mate, unless there's a bit of...
Oh, stop it. I've got me lockdown haircut. I've got my lockdown haircut, to be fair. But
how's your brother getting on with the band? Because your brother's in the band as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been in a few down the years. He's played some great gigs down the years. He's played Glastonbury. He's played some brilliant gigs in London. And then he got in a band. He was in a band that supported a band called Bauhaus, who are they invented goth music. So they've got quite a big following, and he went around traveling America and traveling around Europe supporting them, which was an incredible 7 months of his life. I think we can imagine what they got up to. You know what I mean? It was amazing. So and obviously with the lockdown and that stopped all sort of live music, which is broke his heart a little bit. But he'll play in other stuff. He'll play in other bands. He's a good musician. He's very, very good at what he does. So because of the gigs he's played, he'd always get in to play in somewhere. But yes, it was. I'd like to have been a fly on the wall one of them documentaries following them around for 6 to 8 months would be amazing.
Yeah, you can imagine. And remember Barnett? Barnett moved down to London, didn't he? He's like running some top bar or restaurant down there.
Yeah. And I think he's trying to start his own company as well. He's got like a mobile cocktail bar that he does events with. So he's trying to do that. I think obviously still sees a lot of Matthew. He's good friends with Matthew. They live very close. But again, live events has killed. It's been all killed, with the lockdown, so it's stopped him in his tracks. But they're all kicking around. They're all the same sort of characters. Very funny, good lads. Good lads to have a pint with.
Yeah, definitely. We'll wrap it up now. But when are you back on the kind of snooker scene? When is all this picking back up after COVID?
Yeah, well, we've been lucky that snooker's been doing pretty. We've had a lot of tournaments. We've been playing all our events in Milton Keynes.
Oh, okay, of course, yeah, but without the crowd, of course, yeah.
Yeah, without the crowd, yeah. So we've been blessed, really, because we're all trying to eliminate at the end of the day that we've got in. There's an event going off in the minute, which I'm not in. The next event for me is the World Championship, which is in about 3-4 weeks. The qualifiers start. So, yes, like I said before, I think since Christmas, my results haven't been brilliant. Or my form hasn't been as good, which I need to sort out. But I'm just saving it for the World Championship. That's what I keep telling myself.
Good man.
I've got 3 or 4 weeks to prepare for that, and hopefully, if I get to the level I was before Christmas, I think we'll see. Hopefully, I'll qualify for Sheffield. I need to win 2 matches to get to the Crucible, and it'll be the first time I've been there for 3 or 4 years. So, yes, see how we go.
Watch this space. If you do really well and you win, get ready for this interview to be plastered all over.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, Michael, listen, mate, thanks for your time. I'm going to stop recording now. So Michael Holt there, professional snooker player on the Grappling the Physio podcast. Brilliant. Thank you, mate.